buy one. So the cost of the car. So when I want to buy a car, I tend to use Autotrader. So you put your postcode. Well, that's optional. I mean, you could search it UK wide or wherever country wide, and then you put your make. Let's say you want let's stick to Skoda Fabia because that was my first car. So you want to buy a Skoda Fabia, and your price is so much. So let's quickly search it and see what Autotrader shows us. So my postcode is, for example, S115NB. The distance from my postcode that I would like to search is, let's say, I don't know, 50 miles maybe. And I would like to consider all the options here. Used, nearly new, or new, and the make is Skoda, and the model is, let's stick to Fabia, and let's put a maximum price of, I don't know, £3,000, right? So that gave me 80 results. Let's quickly. Yeah, let's quickly have a look. So as you can see, if you sort it by the lowest price, you can see the cheapest Skoda Fabia in this list is somewhere around £600, but it has done a lot of mileage. You see, that means probably the engine is knackered. It probably hasn't got enough life in it for you to carry on for 3 to 4 years, depending on how much you want to cover. On the flip side, if you go to the upper limit, let me quickly filter it, sort it by highest price. You see, and then you can see 2009. So you can generally get an idea of how much this car would cost you. And if let's say you wanted 2012 Skoda Fabia, now it's clear, quite evident that it wouldn't fit into your budget, and then you need to take a call. So now that Skoda Fabia doesn't fit into my budget, would you still stick to it? Would you go for a smaller car in Skoda family, or would you go for a same size car in a, I don't know, Ford family, which would probably fit into this budget and age factor and other things? So yeah, I mean, the other things that you can check in Autotrader are things like the make. You can choose between various makes, and then you can filter the results using the price. And then you can also filter by the year of the make, the mileage. I tend to stick to used cars which have done less than 100,000. That's not too much. At the same time, that's not far too less. So it would stick in to most of the used car purchase budgets. The body type. This usually matters when you have a family, right? I mean, maybe a hatchback is not for you. Maybe an estate is for you, or maybe a saloon is for you, so that you can fit all your kids' stuff and the prams and all those things into the boot, and then still have room for an extra suitcase or something when you go off to, I don't know, Cornwall or Devon or something for holiday. At the same time, if you are more of a sports person, as in if you tend to drive in not so standard roads, maybe SUVs are for you, right? SUV or sort of convertibles are sort of a market where you get you get cars which can drive on road, on tarmac, and also on rural and really bad roads. So, and then the fuel type. So you see quite a few here, but generally most of us, especially the used car buyers, go for the petrol or diesel. because they're proven cars. As you can see, you also see the higher number here. There are about 250,000 diesels and 250,000 petrols, but things that fit into this selection where, in my criteria, there are only a certain amount of, bi-fuel is probably when you have both LPG as in or CNG along with your primary fuel, which is petrol, and then electrics are just electrics. Hybrid have a way of charging a battery, and that's a different topic altogether. I'm not an automotive expert, and I wouldn't go into that at least in this video. So yeah, most of the times it's between diesel and petrol. According to the conventional wisdom from my friends, the diesel cars that were made before 2010 had quite a few issues, and they tend to tell me any diesel car that was made around 2010 or after 2010 are as good as petrol. I come from a country in India, where people tend to say if it is a petrol car, you can leave it undriven for 6 months or 1 year. You come back and you can start it, and it would start, no starting issues and anything. On the other hand, a diesel car, people tell me, have quite a few issues. Once again, this is conventional wisdom. I could be wrong. All this would be proven is by just checking their reliability and other things, which we would cover later. And then engine sizes, right? You can have all the way from 1 liter to some crazy 6.5 liter. I have never come across a car with 6.5 liter engine. So this would sort of determine the drive type, how racy it is and how more fuel efficient it is, and all these factors. The more, the higher the engine size, which is measured in liters, the less the fuel efficiency is. Acceleration once again, and then gearbox. Would you like to go for an automatic, manual, semi-automatic, and things like that. And the other things, doors, right? So if you're a family person, you probably need a 5-door car, which is 4 doors plus a boot. I don't know what a 6-door is. Anyway, and then you have 4 doors where, and then you have, I don't know what a 4-door is, probably the one, anyway, generally the 3 doors are the ones without doors for the rear seat. So you have 2 doors, one for the driver and one for the passenger next to the driver, and then you have a boot door. So those cars could be a bit of a hassle when you have kids, where you need to fit their booster seats and all that come out of them. But if you are a bachelor, if you are a lone driver, these things don't really matter. 2 doors, I don't know what they are. I think 2 doors probably mean 3 doors, and 4 doors probably mean 5 doors. Seats, once again, would you like a 2-seater, 5-seater, 6-seater? It all depends on your family needs and your needs. And then insurance group. I know this is quite good. I'm glad Autotrader shows it here, but we can also, there is a website that would actually tell us what exactly is the insurance group of a given car. So once again, the lesser the insurance group, the least it would be to insure it. And insurance could be really daunting for new drivers, anywhere from £500 to £5,000. Yes, I have heard people who have actually given a quotation of £5,000 to insure a car for a year, just 1 year. Annual tax is road tax. Once again, you can use this to assess how much this car would cost you to ride for a year. And so, like I said, road tax is based on the fuel emissions, the emissions from the car. So, for example, you could buy a 300-pound car. I know people who buy them from Gumtrees and all that. But if you end up spending £300 for annual tax, it doesn't make any sense. Instead, you could probably spend £1,000 on a used car, and spend, I don't know, 150 on annual tax, because when you purchase your car, the upfront cost of a car is constant. Let's say put it down to £1,000, but the annual tax is a recurring cost. It would come back to you every year. So it's ideal that you limit that, especially if you want to own this car for a good amount of time, 3 to 5 years or something. Anyway, let's go back to the presentation. So that's how Autotrader